Call the planning committee meeting to order, please. We have all in attendance, Tom Winslow, Elaine Daly, Aileen McNabb Coleman, Ben Vitale, and myself. I'll entertain a motion for minutes to approve for February 13th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Passed. There's one appointment for the Cayuga County Planning Board. We'll cover at the full edge meeting. And for now, we will entertain the department update of Terry Tolick.
Good evening. Since we kind of short for you. Just a couple things to highlight that didn't make my report because they're so recent. Pleased to announce that yesterday we submitted the county infrastructure grant application. Invoice Park Grove will be going out tomorrow. So that will bring planning department just over $1,100 in revenue for our staff time to do that application, and we'll get reimbursed that $250 application fee. There's a few new grants opportunities that came across my email in the last couple of days that I've been asked to look into through the Bond Act, through New York State Department of State for coastal rehabilitation and resilience. That would apply to Sterling and Fairhaven only. And then there's an inland flooding and LWRP implementation grant. These are both 90% state funded for very specific projects on public lands. That would apply to Sterling, Fairhaven, Cayuga, Union Springs, and all the municipalities within the Owasco Lake watershed, because having that management plan makes them eligible for implementation. So stream bank stuff, water quality stuff, all of those things that we have in those plans. And happy to announce that I have had a huge response to our position that's open for planner, and we have interviews scheduled the next 2 weeks.
Hey, for what?
For the planner position. Are there any questions on my report? There's a lot in there as usual.
We had covered about the strategic plan and the brownfield. Those are one's 36 months, one's 24. Is that?
Yes, the strategic plan is a 36-month process that will start mid-April. And the brownfield opportunities, the BOA, is a 24-month project that will also start that same time.
The strategic plan will result in you outreaching to the towns, the villages, doing a survey, seeing kind of what they are hoping for their future. Is that how it goes?
Yes, and then the collective future of the county. So it'll be a whole host of stakeholder groups and meetings and focus group meetings, a lot of inventory, and then we will have a series of public meetings. And each time we have a public meeting, we'll have that public meeting in 3 locations. The north end of the county in Fairhaven, in Auburn, and then we're looking at a location in Moravia, so that we're making sure everyone has the opportunity to attend.
Any questions for Carrie?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Carrie, I see that you're being asked to do zoning in town of Mentz.
Yes,
I believe they just did that a few years ago.
they did. This is a very series of targeted amendments to the work that I did several years ago for them. We do have an MOA in place. They are paying 100% rate for that work.
My only comment is I hope they're not dragging us into the whole transfer station thing.
It is my understanding with the amendments they have requested that they're going to remove that as an allowed land use. And I've also read through the news that Mr. Morgan has dropped his application for transfer.
I have a feeling, I thought he did, but just don't want to get in the middle of it.
Nope, me either.
Are we okay? Yeah, you have a resolution?
I do have one.
No one?
So this, if you recall, is a revised version of the resolution that was brought in January. So this resolution is for the promotion of my incumbent associate planner to principal environmental planner. Funding for the promotion is included in my approved 2025 budget. The associate planner position will be unfunded and abolished upon the successful completion of the civil service probationary period of the incumbent in the new position. This request has been reviewed and approved by the Personnel Committee, who also established the grade, starting step, and corresponding salary for the position, And I worked directly with Diane Paris on this version of the resolution.
Move it.
Second.
Move it second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. You have my report tonight. A couple of things I want to highlight. Basically, we have a couple big events coming up. The first one I'll talk about is the Youth STEM event, which that is the money that we requested through the Youth Bureau, through the ARPA money, the $10,000. This will wrap up all of our spending. We contracted with the most. This really stemmed from our Micron subcommittee employment group when we started that out a couple of years ago when Chairman Gould was in office, and we started to do that. And through that, we decided that we wanted to educate the youth in terms of microchips and, potential opportunities at Micron. That's kind of where this all started. We decided to make a larger scale event to incorporate other STEM industries in the county. So especially unexpected STEM, you don't think about STEM and healthcare, different. For me, I'm always thinking of engineers, and you forget that there's STEM in every industry. So we have invited Cornell Cooperative Extension to be part of our group, our event. Soil and Water will be coming. We're working with the Sheriff's Office and Auburn Police, Newport, Auburn Community Hospital, and so forth. So we will have STEM stations. It's going to take place on May 1st from 4 to 6. We've partnered with Booker T. Washington to make this a workforce development, employment-related field trip. So we're excited that we can count on 50 to 60 kids automatically coming as part of a field trip. And then also open to the community that we're promoting in every school in Cayuga County. So, we will touch from the northern end to the southern end, and it's open for kids and families. We're going to have food, and we're working with the CCC Culinary Arts program. So we're trying to really incorporate the college and BOCES CTE programs to all take part in the event. So looking forward to that. I'm expecting it to be a pretty good turnout. I anticipate or hope that we could have close to 100 kids walk through our doors at the Workforce Development Center, which is incredible. Whether they're interested in STEM or not, they're going to see the world of workforce, and that, that makes me happy. So we have that coming up. Excited. Welcome everyone to attend if you would like. We would love that. The other event that I have coming up is a job fair. That's going to be on April 2nd. Happy to say that Cayuga County is participating in the job fair. Also, we're putting it on for Auburn Community Hospital, the Trooper's Office for State Police, BOCES, Government, and I think I'm missing somebody. So that's from 11 to 1 on April 2nd. But again, Cayuga County will be in attendance for that, promoting all the job openings that the different various departments have. I do want to encourage, one thing that Denise from 911, she's doing her open house. She sent it to me, and we're promoting that. All county departments should utilize the services that we have, not just businesses, non-county related. We worked with the post office to recruit one of their hiring events, and they reached out to me and said that they had way more attendance because we promoted it, even though we didn't put the event on. So of course, if departments are doing any activity or event like that, please reach out to me. Encourage when you do talk to other department heads, we can help with, those efforts. So other than that, you have my report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Kelly?
Great, thanks.
Mr. Welch. Short report, but he's always entertaining.
Short. I don't know how entertaining I'll be tonight. Yeah, a little bit shorter report tonight, partially because the first part of February, we were still doing the move and unpacking in the Workforce Development Center. So just wanted to highlight a couple things we did in 4-H. One is we had members throughout the county participate in public presentations. This is an opportunity for them to practice their public speaking skills in front of evaluators who give them positive feedback on how they can improve. And several of them will be participating in a couple of weeks at the district public presentation competition, which is kind of all the counties from here to Livingston County. So pretty big area. And then our annual tractor safety course started a few weeks ago. This year, in addition to our kind of standard teaching them how to drive tractors, we were fortunate to get two of our volunteer, a volunteer firefighter and a volunteer EMT came in to do one of the classroom sessions on first aid and what kids should know if they ever need to call 911. That's my report this month. Any questions?
I just want to comment real quick is I have been witnessed a couple of these 4-H youth presentations. And I got to say, I left impressed. They're well prepared and well spoken and kudos to you and your team for getting them out there doing that. So congratulations. Any questions for Dan? No? Thank you, Dan. Karen?
Good evening. I'd like to start off with highlighting two things on the report. And for one, I got nice little giveaways, I guess. We will be hosting a tourism summit, May 7th at the Emerson Park Pavilion, I guess. The summit will be focused on the role of tourism in our community. It's where tourism meets community. We invite you to join us and take part of the conversation. We'll be highlighting the various aspects of tourism throughout the county. We've been holding what we call the tourism community days in various areas, having conversations with the stakeholders in different areas in the county. How do they see themselves? How do they want themselves to be promoted? So that's some of the things that we'll be talking about. We've reached out to state representation for the New York State Tourism Industry Alliance to come and join us to give you a perspective of the state of the tourism in the state. So please consider joining us. There's a QR code to Eventbrite to register. The other one on my report is NOAA, the Lake Ontario Marine Sanctuary. They reached out to me to sit in their conversation with the other counties along the route. Previously, Steve Lynch had been sitting in that seat. Since Steve's retirement, they reached out to me to be part of the conversation. There's a lot of really exciting things going on, and there's great opportunities for our education system to participate. In May, they will be having a research boat that will be going out into Lake Ontario, photographing a lot of these shipwrecks. And then they will be bringing it to this, encouraging schools to come to Oswego, to the pier where the boat will be docked, to learn from it. So, and there's other opportunities up there. The seat is not intended for tourism. They just asked me to sit in at their last meeting. So I highly recommend the legislator consider who can sit and take that seat. So passing on the message. The last item that I'd like to bring up is one that's not in my report, and that is a bittersweet news that I have announced my resignation from my position at Cayuga County Tourism effective October 2025. So we have a long process, we have a long strategy of finding a good leadership to take my position. It is for personal reasons, so it is very exciting, but I love my job. I love working with this legislature. I have had an amazing board of directors for the past 6 years, but it'll be exciting to find new leadership. Any questions?
Any questions for Karen?
I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for our county, and I'm glad that we have such a lead time to look for your replacement. But I appreciate everything you've done for us. So
Thank you.
you made a tremendous impact on our county.
Yeah, I'd like to echo those thoughts, and I know your enthusiasm and your effort into this position. It's going to be hard to replace that. Thank you.
It'll be different, but we'll try and make sure it's just as good.
Count on it.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thanks.
Thank you. Is Kyle on? On, he's not here? Right. Oh, you're up.
Good evening. I have two things that aren't on there that I do want to add. One is the American, the American Public Works Association did reach out to us and let us know that the Sterling Nature Center is also the project of the year. 2 months ago, I think we announced that it was the region. So the Sterling Nature Center project got the Public Works Association Regional Award for projects less than $5 million. So We were notified last week, I think, about the state award. There's an awards presentation next Thursday evening. So that would be the American Public Works Association State Award for Project of the Year for the Nature Center for 2024. So obviously, we're excited to share that information. And then the only other thing that's not represented in my resolutions, but I did want to bring up, is that I've been working with Fred. We have, at the previous meeting, we got some permission to put a letter of intent basically into the Northern Border Regional Commission for funding to help replace the bridge on Deauville Island. That part of the process has proceeded, so we have actually sent them in the information to say we're interested, and they have to get back to us and say, yes, you can apply, or no, you can't. But since it takes some time for us to do that, I'd like to walk on at the Ways and Means Committee next week, the resolution to apply for that grant if we're allowed to do so. At that point, we would have to identify the matching source of funding, which would be that capital H that was set aside for park improvements could cover that match, which is a 20% match. And so out of a $2 million project, that would be really beneficial for us to be able to only have to pay 20% for that project. Obviously, it's a grant. We don't know if we'll get it, but we definitely want to be in the running. In order to make the timing of that, Carrie and I were talking about, to make the timing, which is an April 15th deadline to send in that application, we would need approval this month because it'll be too late by the time we get to the legislature meeting next month. But that would be great for us to get that money back through our coffers. Other than that, there was a lot on the report, but I'm going to go through.
You have an architect design and you paid for that already, and that's helping
Yes,
get
correct.
shovel ready, sort of?
Correct. We did apply for it 2 years ago, but we had a very ballpark kind of number. We actually have designs in hand this year
And-
that are already paid for.
Yep.
That we're ready to move forward with.
And that's the 1 point some million dollars or 2 million, I mean, I don't even know.
$2 million project.
2 million, yeah.
If we were responsible for, 20%, it'd be about 400,000.
Yep.
But there was lots of reports, I'm sorry.
And this grant is a $2 million grant? I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the
Yes,
grant would
okay.
be, it was an 80-20 grant. And so if we were to receive it based on our estimate right now from the engineers pavilion, it could be up to $1.6 million that we would get 80% from the program.
Yep.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, great.
Yes, sir.
Doug, I read here on your Owasco Flats part of your report, says the Blue Way 1.5 mile markers, that's the ones down along the inlet, correct?
Sorry?
The
Yep.
Blue Way,
Yep.
them are the ones that are down along the
Yes.
Have you spoke to anybody besides me?
I have not.
All right,
I have
I'll be
not.
the go-between.
We can deploy them anytime or we can send
All right,
them.
I'll set it up for the guys at the
Okay.
department.
Great.
The other one I have is the oil stoning of the flats. What is that?
It's the roadway down there. So the roadway that goes into the Owasco Flats, that's just on our oil stoning list for this year. The dirt.
Whereabouts that?
It's the stone road that goes from Well Hours property all the way into the inlet. It's our county access.
Yep,
road.
I know where you're talking about. Yep, I know. Thank you.
Yep.
Any more questions for Doug? Resolutions?
Resolutions.
Please.
PL2 is authorizing the application to the Environmental Facilities Appropriation Program for wastewater engineering planning grant.
I'll second.
In second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? PL2 carries.
PL3 is authorizing the replacement of lighting within the Emerson Park Pavilion.
Entertain a motion.
I'll move that one.
Second?
Second.
Second, Ben, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? PL3 carries. Okay, can you, it's too soon to quit, so can you stretch it a little bit?
Sure. I'll do a little song and dance. I gotta stretch a little before we do it.
We'll set up there.
I don't know, do I? Do we need to have something moved, Fred or Rich, to walk on at Ways and Means, or does that come from the committee chair?
It would be helpful if they said it was okay to move it ways.
Okay.
Bob's fine. I'm the chair of waste, so that's fine.
All right, great.
Thank you. Stuck on my head.
Entertain a motion to adjourn. Planning. Second?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
I made that motion
You're
before we
like-
started.
Not that, please, I said it the second time.
That's twice.
I was saying, you want me to sing the national anthem? Mark Strong's gonna lead us in the national anthem report.
Got the Jets.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
There's a speaker you want to say, can you see?
Huh?
Oh.
All right. Like, start off the roll call. Vice Chair Daley,
Here,
Legislator Nightingale,
present.
Legislator Peach, Petra,
Yeah, I'm here.
and Legislator Strong.
Here.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes on February 13th?
Move it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. All right. Sheila,
Sheila was asked to be excused, I think, Brian.
okay, Sheila's excused. And then Fred, do you have any updates?
No update.
Update for Fred? And I'm gonna turn it over to our Chair, John Anna, to give us update for the county clerk. John?
She is, man.
His name's up there.
Yeah, he's probably got it silenced or something.
John, you're on mute. if you're-
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get you guys up on camera here in a minute. Apologize for that. With that said, sorry I couldn't be there in person. I made a commitment with my son this evening and plan on, and I can't get back in time to keep that commitment. So I meant to be there in person. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to give some updates and speak on behalf of the county clerk's office today. As you know, we received word on Tuesday morning that Mr. Scanlon resigned effective immediately. Upon learning of Mr. Scanlon's resignation, I scheduled a call with the governor's office and reached out to Terry Wilbur, Oswego County Clerk. Speaking with the governor's office, I asked them a couple questions. The two questions I asked them is the governor going to make an appointment? And if so, what the time frame would be? As you're all aware, the governor is the appointing authority. I spoke with Tracy and she will get back to me, and I have not yet heard back from the governor's office. So I have no update on that at this time. I spoke with Terry Wilbur. Mr. Wilbur is the county clerk for Oswego County. Spoke to him regarding our situation. He graciously has offered assistance from his office. Yesterday, Wednesday, Mr. Matthew Bacon, the Deputy Clerk 1 from Oswego County, came down at 9 a.m. and spent the day in the county clerk's office working with Shelley Patterson, our Deputy Clerk 2. At that time, they will be sending their Deputy Clerk 2 on Monday to assist in the office again, and they are providing technical support to us at this time. With that said, there are two resolutions I'd like to speak about this evening, but do I have any questions regarding any of that information? All right, thank you. So let's move to our resolutions. I'm going to share my screen with you real quick, and I'd like to talk about the DMV fee. So give me one moment. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay, very well. I'd like to speak about the DMV user fee really quickly. If you're not aware, New York State allows counties to set a charge for the registration of motor vehicles. Registrations are for a period of 2 years, and the fees would be as follows. Vehicles under 3,500 pounds would be $5 a year, or that'd be $10 per registration or term of
For
repair.
2 years, period.
Vehicles that are 3,501 pounds and greater would be $10 per year, or that'd be $20 at the time of registration or renewal. New York State DMV can kind of plan for what's going to take place. So right now in 2025, it is estimated that there are 10,000 vehicle renewals for registration in Cayuga County alone. This number does not include the new vehicle registrations. That is just the existing vehicle registrations. The fee example applies to the county where where the vehicle's registered address is. It is not based on which DMV office the registration takes place. So if you register your vehicle to a Cayuga County address, this fee will apply. The fee would also apply to mail and online transactions, so all registrations and renewals. The estimated revenues, and this is a conservative estimate because I used the 10,000 renewal fee, so I did not include the additional new vehicle purchases, but the estimated revenues are between $150,000 to $200,000 annually. Counties in our region that currently charge this fee are Oswego, Onondaga, Cortland, Tompkins, Chemung, Livingston, Monroe, Madison, Broome, Yates, Oneida, and that doesn't mention the counties further east and to the far west. Does anyone have any questions regarding that? All right, I'm going to try to stop sharing my screen. Oh, okay. Stop share. All right. The other thing I'd like to talk about is GO3.
Can I
GO3
make,
is-
Jonathan, could I
Yes,
make
ma'am.
one comment before you move on to the next
Oh, please do.
resolution?
Yes.
What you're talking about would require approval by the state of New York. So even if we have this public hearing and we support adopting this, then it has to go to the state for approval. Not that they wouldn't approve it, but the reality of it, this would potentially, even if we passed this, we wouldn't see the additional revenue until 2026. Is that fair to say?
It is kind of fair to say, in a way that so if we have the local hearing, we pass the local law, then we send it to Albany. DMV has to institute this. I reached out to the regional director for Department of Motor Vehicles. They did not provide a timeline of when we would see the revenue because they have to add it to their computer system and update their system as well. They are going through a computer upgrade at this time. So they're in the process of upgrading the entire DMV system. So this would go on a list during the process that they're doing their upgrade. At some point, they would get to this. So there is no guarantee that we would see revenue in this fiscal year. That is correct. I can't say we won't, but I can't promise we will. That is correct.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Anybody else? Okay. The second one is GO1. A little history here. The county does the mortgage tax recording. They are allowed to keep administrative fees to cover the expenses of the administrative cost of providing the service as part of their county clerk's service. Right now, the current amount we keep is $199,992. However, the current expenses of the office to provide the service are $282,000. The last time this was adjusted was in 2016, so I believe it's due for an adjustment. And the adjustment amount would be the $82,008 to bring us up to the $282,000. That's what that is about, and that is the purpose of that resolution. So I'll answer any questions that you might have. I don't know if I can answer all your questions, but I'll do my best. As again, this was I wasn't planning on presenting this tonight until earlier this week. So go ahead.
I guess, would that also take effect next year? Because we're into this year, and how does this work? Do you know?
That I don't know the answer to.
Okay.
I think that'd be a question for legal.
And state approval, do we have to send this in for approval and adoption? Is that?
I honestly, Elaine, don't know the answer to
Okay,
that either.
all right.
This was something that the former county clerk was working on.
Yep.
This was his project. I took
Okay.
my notes from our conversations that we had previously and did the best I can with the information that was given to me.
Okay. Maybe we could ask Oswego when they come to assist.
We could, yes.
Yeah.
Ben has a question.
So does this increase the amount of money that somebody buying a house and getting the mortgage would have to pay? Or is
No,
it
it does
just?
not. It is an internal adjustment. So the distribution of the towns would be slightly affected. So that $82,000 would be that would be, obviously the towns get those revenues. So it's slightly take away from the town.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that because we can raise the mortgage tax also, and I would.
Yes, we can. The mortgage tax is currently, I believe, 1%. If you want to know the dividing of how that works, then it's, get my notes.
You don't have to, I just want clarification right
Oh,
now.
yes, we could raise it by even up to a quarter point. Yes, sir.
To your point, Ben, is we're not raising the mortgage tax on, yes, that's what I, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was, Ben, that was actually proposed by the, yeah, Ben, that was actually proposed by the county clerk, and I didn't think that was a good move at this time.
Oh, we discussed it other years also.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Strong, I'm sorry.
Jonathan, if you could, I'd like to back up to GO3.
Yes,
So
sir.
the intent, anticipated monies, I mean, is that going to be added to the county's wallet, if you want to call it that, or is that going to be kept strictly at DMV?
No, it's actually, so granted, it's part of DMV's revenue. Right now, it would go into A fund. My hope is to take a portion of those dollars as well and move them into D fund. Since this is a user fee that, obviously with motor vehicles and driving on the roadway, I think some of these dollars should be turned to highway to be put back into our local infrastructure. But those funds can be used as the legislature sees fit, as they go into our general fund.
If I'm not mistaken, currently in the local law, they talked about 95% going into the general fund and 5% going to the D fund.
Correct.
Is that true, Fred, or?
That's true, yeah.
Yes, that's how the local law is written.
That's how the local laws were.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's important that we invest back into our infrastructure as well as part of this user fee.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Muldrow?
Nope.
Thank you, Chairman. All right, thank you, Chairman. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Tom, do you have any updates for us, Tom? Or anybody from IT?
Yeah, Tom couldn't be here today either.
Okay.
I'm in here.
Went through it, okay.
Oh, I saw him down at the
Yeah,
office.
yeah.
I guess we'll get right to Kevin.
Hello, everybody.
There you go.
Hey, Kevin.
Kevin.
You have my report as submitted. Weather's warming up, so more activity getting out and having some events. Standard operations with claims and transporting veterans to VA Medical Center. We did start a new breakfast down south at Dugan's Country Grill. It's going to be next Wednesday. And these events have been very good to get out, connect to veterans, talk about benefits. My focus really, you'll see a trend here, a lot of things, is a lot of focus on the Vietnam era veterans. Obviously, they're getting up in age. Their conditions related to exposure to Agent Orange can be severe. And that's really, I've been in this position long enough we're now in trying to prevent phone calls when things go bad quickly. If we can get veterans connected to benefits prior to things going bad, it helps everyone involved for sure. And so that's really a lot of the emphasis is on getting out, finding veterans. I've had several that have never filed for anything, and they're maybe I like to think it's me, but who knows? Able to get them in and actually file for something, and that's what a lot of these events are doing. As you can see, we're going to be Office for the Aging. I can give them all the credit for setting up these visits to Sterling on the 4th of April and Summerhill on the 23rd, but we're going to tag along as well in those locations. I'm be talking to the town clerks on the 7th of April. I got an invite to that, so that's pretty awesome. And again, I throw it out there to all legislators. If you have an event or a group that you think would be benefit from hearing about veteran benefits, please contact me and I'd be glad to be there or present to the group. Any questions? That's all I have.
Well, thank you, Kevin.
Have a good night.
All right, we'll get to the resolutions. Chairman? Yes.
Excuse me, you have, I don't know if you realize you have Chantel Hoteling on from Board of Elections. I don't know if you wanted to.
Okay, how you doing?
Hi,
Sorry.
thank you, Tom. I typed up the report. I sent it to you guys. We're very in the right now, everyone's passing petitions and they will be into the office by the 3rd. We're working on getting, the girls are getting in the office. They're starting to do the basis for creating the ballots. So it's a busy time now.
Okay, thank you for all you do. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right. PO 32201 is authorizing the county clerk to retain necessary expenses for mortgage tax. Can I get a motion?
I'll move GO1.
Thank second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstaining objections or? All right, so moved. GO2 was amended on 3/13/25, fixing the day of notice of public hearing on local law providing a salary increase to certain county officer elected or appointed for fixed term during their term. Can I get a motion for that?
I'll move that.
Thank you, second.
All in favor? You all have to say aye.
Discussion summers,
Yeah,
Oh, there's discussion? Okay.
I mean, for point of clarification, in this resolution, it would be a public hearing to consider changing the salary for both Board of Election Commissioners. As I said before, when we appointed them in November, we did not include a salary. If we were going to move to give them the $35,000 salary, our county attorney felt it would be, from a transparency standpoint, more appropriate to bring this back and put the salary amount in. And if you look there, you see the term is $35,000 for the remainder of the term without change. And then there was some discussion about a change to the county attorney salary. And we had as a ways chair, I had spoke to Fred about this prior. And the situation being that the county attorney salary at $128,410 had not changed since Chris Palermo got that in 2023. So we had talked with Fred about the possibility of bringing this resolution forward and setting his term out for the remainder of his term. And at the time, I'll speak for you, you did not feel comfortable doing it at that time. Now that there has been decisions made on the non-bargaining group, he felt more comfortable to go ahead and ask for consideration to bring this forward. If this passes, the 3-year remainder of his term, his salary proposal would be 4%, 3%, 2%, the last of his term. And I think the resolution in here that would be acted on, I did, okay, yes, right here. January 1st to December 31st of 25, the salary had moved to $133,546. January 1st of 26 to the end of 26, it's $137,552. And the last of his term ending in 2027, the salary, if this passed, would be $140,303. And instead of having one public hearing for the Board of Elections staff, and then the following month having another public hearing to fix the salary of appointed or elected, the decision was made to try to move these both forward in this one public hearing that will be held next month.
Not right there.
What?
So this is the back for the BOE.
No, this is the one for the Board of Elections. Right there. That was for, yeah, that was for something else. So
How much of an increase?
of the
Our
Board of Elections, if this resolution passed, their salary would be reset from 27 whatever to, in January of 25, 35,000. and throughout the rest of their term with no change.
So you have any idea how much percentage that is?
It's about approximately 28%.
And then so I think it stays stagnant through the term. And again, I don't want to speak, Chantel, I know Keith did,
Yes.
some discussion about what a full-time salary would look like. If this was equated, the current salary into a full-time salary, it'd be, you guys would be making 57,000 a year annually. So, I mean, this was all information, I think, that was presented to the caucuses.
And yeah, and also Elaine, he, him and John did
Yep.
this. So, of course, he's talked to me about it, but they really are the ones that figured everything out. And also, he said in most cases that, the full-time, if we were full-time, we would, our salary would be doubled. And typically, full-time commissioners make considerably more than their deputies, and our deputies make 62,900 now.
I did the math. I think it's more 12%. You give them a 28%?
Yeah,
I thought it was 12.
they're making 25, 27 now, and they're getting a $7,000 increase. So that's,
Yeah, okay, all right.
I have a question about the attorney increases. What were the percentages in that one?
Well, I did the math. He's better. What is it?
432.
For 25, 3% for 26, 2% for 27.
Is there like a rhyme or reason to that?
I think the discussion was to try to get it to where the market is going to be at the end of my term. You're probably looking at $1.50. That gets it to 140.
140, 300. And I don't know, Jonathan had brought this proposal forward. I don't know if the 4 in the beginning was to look at the fact that the salary hadn't moved since 2023. I don't know, or you give the higher percent in the beginning and then you would reduce it down.
I was not part of those discussions. Jonathan and I have talked about that salary range 4, 3, and 2 in January of this year.
That we did for the other union. Was we had it was like a
Excuse
4,
me?
3, 3 or a 3, 2, 2 or something.
CSEA or something.
Yeah, CSEA.
Keith is on now, guys, if you have any questions for him.
Do you want to ask Keith?
Hey, Keith,
Could I interject real quick about the conversation with the attorney? Just to put this in perspective, I've done a little asking around to find out what an experienced municipal attorney might be interested in. If Fred were to retire and everyone leave and we had to hire from the outside, right now, market value from what I'm gathering seems to be right around 150. Now, we haven't done a study for this. We're talking about potentially looking into this further, but just myself asking folks within the Cayuga County region who are attorneys that may be interested in this kind of work or currently do this work for towns that might be interested in stepping aside and going to work for the county at some point. I'm getting the range of 150. So I just want you guys aware of that. And you also have to look at seeing what the DA's office is making, because at the end of the day, that seems to be rates of what any attorney that's going to leave a practice to come work for us who has experience. These are the prices we're looking at. And it's the unfortunate world we live in today, but the salaries, they are what they are. I just, so you're aware.
I guess my issue is I would like, HR to comment on this, or 4, 3, and 2 is fine. I'm just thinking, is it bringing you up enough? I mean, it seems pretty. I'm looking at
Well, it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because those.
We did
Aileen?
speak about that.
Yes.
Aileen, what you just said is something that I had said a couple months ago to Mr. Westfall.
Well, I guess my point is it sounds arbitrary, and I don't want to make these decisions based on anything arbitrary. And I'd love to see an actual side-by-side comparison on paper. I just don't want someone's feelings, to have Like, this is, I talked with a couple of guys, I got this answers. I want to see.
We did have preliminary conversations this past week about looking into potential a targeted salary study in regards to potentially the CSEA negotiations that are coming forth. And part of that conversation with Diane and HR was to also include the non-legal law group, which would include Brittany Massey and our county attorneys as well.
Right. So, and I'm hearing some indigestion on the 4, 3, and 2. If that's the will of the body, then my suggestion would be to split off the commissioners of the Board of Election. Why tank them if the issue is the county attorney's office?
So I don't want to make you nervous about tanking
Well, you're not making me nervous.
I just was kind of surprised when I'm looking at the numbers, and I'm not in this committee, so I'm interjecting. And I'm just wondering why we arrived at 432 like that. I'm not trying to take it, I'm just trying to.
There was a number that we're, like Fred said, we're trying to get close to market value at the end of his term by setting his salary for the term. And his salary right now is seriously under market. And by going 4, 3, and 2, instead of doing a flat 3, 3, and 3, the percentages at the end come out the same. You get the little bit bump up at the beginning, and you get the drop off at the end with the lower percentage. That was part of the reasoning there, to give him a little boost up front, and then it tapered off. And at the end result was pretty much the same.
So I think, I'm just saying from my experience as chair and discussions we had last year, where you're going to end up in 2027 is not going to attract anybody to this county. So I think that this is what I'm looking at. I'm thinking about maybe we take a deeper dive into that. 140 in 2027 is not going to get anybody to this county.
I don't disagree with that. No, I don't think there's any disagreement with that. But again, if there was a new county attorney, we'd be setting a new salary for the new county attorney. So, but that's kind of was the point. I don't disagree with any of that, Aileen. And I think if we take a deeper dive, if Mr. Westfall's comfortable with that as well, that's good with me.
And, okay.
That's it.
Not on the committee, but my only suggestion here is, could you folks split these apart? I don't care, put them both on the agenda for, the public hearing, but at least we split them apart. So if we don't get all the information on one, we can still act accordingly. We don't have to. That's my suggestion. You don't have to do it, but.
Ben, I agree with you 100%, and I'll make that suggestion that we split these two. I mean, we can do it all in the same public hearing, but I think they need to be split, be fair to everybody involved. That's my recommendation.
Thank you.
And
we get a motion for that.
And I guess hearing this.
How do we have to do that, Fred?
We get a motion. Somebody from the committee needs to make a motion.
I am on the committee.
Yeah.
So Fred, do I have to make a motion to amend?
I would get it.
I'd like to make an amendment to, is it GO2? To split the salary graphs or whatever you want to call them. Yes, splitting the attorneys and the BOE so that they're separate. They can still be on the same public hearing, but they should be split. And I'd like to make that motion.
You're moving to have a separate local law for the county attorneys.
Yes.
Yes. That's the motion.
We need a second.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And just, for clarification, I think Fred did get a request to make a counter at this point, but I agree. We will do better work to get Diane Ferris involved in this and see what, I would hate to put his increase off till we get additional information, but it should be an appropriate salary throughout the rest of his term. So this is probably the first time, Fred, we're saying, gee, maybe this isn't high enough. Not tanking it.
So I guess I'd like to make a motion for GO2 to read as amended. Is that correct?
Second. Go forward, is it? Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, so what's next? Do we just handle these individually or we start the conversation now that we separated them?
They just authorized the amendment and the resolution as amended, which is to separate out the two.
Okay. Let's talk about Board election first.
Well, we're just setting the,
We're just setting the public hearing. Yep, so.
We're not voting on anything.
Yeah.
Right now, you have this resolution is your ways.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
And you're gonna split out one public hearing, two local laws, one covering the county attorney.
Available at ways.
Great.
Okay, sounds good.
very good.
All right, moving on to GO3. Fixing the date notice of public hearing on local law for the year 2025 establish a Cayuga County motor vehicle tax pertinent to the New York State tax law section 1202 and A and 1202 E. I get a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm going to oppose.
Mark's opposed. Any abstention?
We used to have discussions, you know.
Well, you can have discussion. I'm sorry, man. Let's have a discussion. I apologize. I wasn't doing it intentionally. So you just said to
Hans, I think when Jonathan got on to talk about the discussion about why this happened or how many other counties are doing it, he was trying to present this resolution to all of us, and because our county clerk is not available. But the information that he covered was that there are 33 other counties, I think, that are doing this, imposing this vehicle use tax. I don't recall what is the exclusions here, like farm equipment, and there are exclusions in this.
They actually listed in the proposed local law, it's farm equipment, and I thought there was one more, but I did not bring a copy of that local law with me.
Okay.
I guess my concern is it just motor vehicles only, or does it include like trailers?
It does.
It includes trailers, or is it excluding trailers?
It includes tractor trailer.
Well, I meant like, a recreational trailer, like a snowmobile trailer or, something along them lines.
Yes.
Utility trailer,
Yes.
that includes them? That's expensive.
Tax annual for trucks, buses, and other commercial vehicles used principally in connection with the business carried in the county, except when owned and used in connection with the operation of farm. And there is information here in this local law that we should certainly go through. And we could have done this by resolution, Fred, but it's your recommendation to do it by local law.
My recommendation is go by local law. For some reason, I like local laws better. Could have been done either way.
I support the local law. I thought if we're gonna do a user fee or a tax, that the public should have a right to say something as well. So I thought a public hearing was more appropriate for this, and I agree with Mr. Westfall. That's why it's being brought forward as a local law. The New York State, I'm not 100% sure on this the fee part about the trailers, Mark, but I know New York State defines a motor vehicle as something with an engine in it that can drive, and trailers aren't technically a motor vehicle. Now, does that a fee to this fee? I'm not sure, but that's to be honest. I didn't see anything in there about trailers when I looked it over.
Well, you have to register a trailer. I mean, I'm just saying, if,
And they go by weight.
yeah,
It's,
and but go past weight on the trailer too.
yeah.
Well, I want to go on record as absolutely opposed to this. We should be cutting expenditures rather than raising taxes. That's what we're doing. We're raising taxes on everybody else again. Just about everybody has a car, so it's totally unfair when we can, when we haven't even considered cutting expenditures. And One of the ways is the planning department should be cut right in half. The budget should be cut by from $1 million to $500,000. And there's $500,000 we saved, which is more than this tax is going to bring in. And we need to start on it somewhere. We're going to face some pretty hard times. We're going to face some rather large tax increases because of what's going on with the building and not going on with the building. And we've got to prepare for that. And, you know, our population is still shrinking. We've still got people moving out of New York State and Cayuga County. And yet we keep, you know, we want to keep our government the same or keep it even bigger. This is ridiculous. This is putting the horse before the cart, if anything, you know, just let's cut expenditures. And again, we were told this is going to be to keep people employed in the motor vehicle department. And now we're being told, oh, no, this is just a revenue raising gimmick, you know. It's baloney is what it is.
I'd like to mention too that we've had two large local employers in this county just lose just about 200 employees. So that means families, you know, the money that those families, you know, bring into the community, you know, vehicles, you know, stuff that they buy at the stores. It's going to be a hard road pretty soon.
The county.
Wait a minute, hold on, Aileen.
I'm not on this committee, but I agree with the statement from Mr. Petcher. Not necessarily about
Planning department?
You said it.
I don't want to agree 100%, but generally, you know, we haven't done any work. We haven't done any work to rein in spending. We haven't done anything to decrease expenditures. There is no plan in place. Nickeling and diming our residents is not going to help us at this point. It's only going to create frustration for folks who are going to have trouble affording anything. Both of these taxes that are proposed tonight, I will be voting no on because we simply haven't done any work. There's things that we need to do ourselves that we need to decide on as a body. And when that work is done, and if we'd have to look further, that's when we look at things like this. But right now, no, I won't support this at all.
So I'm just presenting on behalf of the county clerk's office. This was brought forth. With that said, he proposed at the time, he proposed 4 options. 3 out of the 4 of them were fees or taxes. The only one that wasn't was the number 2 tonight, which is just a readjustment. It's actually not a new tax, as our citizens will not be paying any more dollars towards the mortgage. This body's challenged us to both cut spending and find revenue. And at the end of the day, this is just a proposal. And I'm speaking on behalf of their office. Mr. Scanlon obviously resigned, is not here to present. So it's obviously the legislature's decision, but I'm just delivering the news tonight.
Heidi?
Regarding the motor vehicle registration increase, I don't believe this body has made any concrete decision that upon collecting that money, and it certainly seems like not much, if any, of the money would come in 2025, means that we reinstate. There's been no discussion that I'm aware of, means that we reinstate positions that we took out of the budget. I think that is, for me, that is, you know, backsliding and not doing our job in terms of making those tough decisions about cuts. You know, when are we going to cut if we always find a way out of it or look for a way out of it? So I want to be sure people are separating that out in their head. I don't believe that bringing in this revenue has anything to do with, it certainly doesn't for me, anything to do with removing those Department of Motor Vehicle cuts.
Heidi, I agree. I concur with what you said. They're 2 separate issues. And I agree with that. And I've expressed that opinion to both the former clerk and today I received a call from Mr. Harding about it, and I expressed that again. And I actually was pulled aside by the employee involved and had informed her of that as well.
And Brian, if I could, in
Yes.
2016, we attempted the same thing, actually. That was the last time we did this with the mortgage tax. And if anyone here represents any towns, I don't know if your phone will be ringing, but mine will be ringing. And that's the other reason why. I was already told they would not support it, and I won't do that to my district, so.
And again, I think the city of Auburn would be part of the towns and villages in the city getting a little bit lower revenue, but I sort of agree with Hans in some way that if this is the appropriate amount of work that is being done by our clerk's office for proceeding with these mortgages, there's no reason I think we should be leaving $83,000 on the table when the towns and villages are not doing any of the work around this mortgage tax. It's not an increased tax, it's just redistributing who keeps what. So I don't see it as a huge penalty to the towns, the villages, or the city of Auburn that we keep our fair share.
No, I agree. Mr. Petcher said it all last year that we do work and we should be reimbursed for this work. And this is just the administrative fee portion. And it's $86,000 divided among the city and the towns. And honestly, the county should be able to be reimbursed for that work. No different than the planning department being reimbursed or other departments, real property that does work for towns. It's just a matter of covering our administrative fees. So I do support this measure. And I encourage this body to move it forward.
And perhaps maybe we should have a working session about how, in fact, we are going to be significantly reducing this operating budget this year on a budget we just passed. Is it slashing the planning department in half? Is it getting rid of all of our optional services? Is it putting in a hiring freeze? None of them sound very appealing. And I don't think we're going to get our way out of where we are in 1 year. It's going to take work. And yes, we do need to start looking at where we can cut. But the process of doing that isn't that easy unless we just get rid of all the services that we don't have to do anymore.
I think that, there's certain departments are, when you say cut, let's be great. We're talking about cutting mainly employees. That's what we're talking about. And I want to thank the clerk, the former clerk, and whoever worked with him on coming up with a revenue stream. And looking at the revenue stream, knowing that the rest of the counties that are surrounding us are paying that same fee. And to me, it's when you look at it, I don't think it's breaking the bank. I don't. I think that the $5-10 to have the convenience of having a local, efficient Department of Motor Vehicle is important. They can, and I also think that $10-20, if you're not able to go online, will be spent in gas and trips out of the county. And so I am in support of that, and also any type of revenue we can get. Especially revenues that I consider a pass-through that we're doing the work on, having that additional money coming in that we're already doing the work, we don't have the luxury to give it back at this point. And so I'm in support of both resolutions, and I hope the body reconsiders if they are going to vote no, because at some point you will be raising taxes someplace. Even though there's a lot of people that have cars, as we know, however, not everybody has cars, so you're not taxing every single person in vehicles. So that's my thought on it.
Maybe we should just vote on the resolutions. Unless there's further discussion.
Is there any further discussion? Hans, did you have your hand up?
We're gonna re-vote on
We never really.
GO3, we're gonna vote on again.
We didn't vote on GO3, I don't believe, but I believe we voted on GO2. Is that correct? Right. Or we have two?
Yes.
We voted on 2, not 3, right?
Yes, we're on GO3 now.
Okay, is there any further discussion on GO3? All All right. So let's vote. Can I get a motion for GO3?
I think it's been put on the.
All right, so let's go to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay.
3-2, passes.
Carries.
All right, Ben?
Again, I'm not on the committee, but before you adjourn, I wanted to bring a subject up that we discussed last year. Legislator Muldrow brought forward a resolution to increase diversity. And several times as of different groups have talked about the amount of redundancy we have within our boards and appointed boards that the legislature appoints. And I would just like to remind everyone that according to Article 18 of the General Municipal Law, it is all addressed in that article. And a lot of it's conflicts of interest, redundancy in boards, and more of the things that, for instance, authorities and IDAs and things, there really needs to be separation in these groups. And I would support and probably help bring forward a resolution at our next full ledge meeting to review Article 18 and for us as Cayuga County to enforce it and support it. And I think it goes on the shirt tails of what Legislator Muldrow brought last year that I supported then, that we need to have more diversity within our boards that we appoint.
That was an amendment to that resolution you did bring forward that I had added to say to increase with more voices and more representation in all of our boards and committees that we're in charge of appointing. We do have a lot of redundancy and we do lack new voices, new energy, or more diverse from different parts of the county even. There are some boards that I've served on where it's very explicit in their bylaws about that they must have representation in different parts of the county. In all boards, you have lots of rules and regulations. What you're talking about is from the comptroller's office. That's how committees and things and authorities get in trouble is when you have when you're doing practices that are anti-Article 18. So I think that's something that I'm definitely on board with and will help bring that forward because we have some work to do.
And the ADO has the same type of things in their
Authorities.
postings.
Is there any comments?
Well, I'm just confused, Ben. You want to reduce Article 18? I'm not sure what you're.
Well, I think we should support Article 18
And
as a county, as a legislature.
have diverse boards.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Article 18. That's why and you had said that you had already put that in the one resolution about making sure people of color with minorities or.
Oh, no, I just.
No. I think what she did was, we put the resolution up and Aileen amended it to 18 boards. So I'm not.
A diverse population on.
I think she just said
boards.
diversity I think she said that.
Okay.
But I'm not familiar with Article 18 either, so I'll have to read up on it.
So I think the point is, and I would look, we can share that around, but the point is that as the appointing authority, I think it's incumbent on us to go to review bylaws, to review the membership and all of our boards to say, what's happening here? There are some boards where people are all from the same town. And, and they're making decisions that are benefiting the entire county. So that's not really how we want to do that. I've been on excellent boards where they really are really diligent about that. For instance, the Parks Commission, very diligent about if there is vacancy, taking a stock of membership and saying, okay, we need somebody from south of the county. And we won't stop until we find somebody south of the county. And we really, really beat the bushes to find those people. We try to look for people who haven't served on boards before. So I'm just saying that I think that there's work to be done.
I'm actually excited about that because diversity doesn't always mean religion, color, and race.
Right.
As one of the things that one of the issues I had when I first got elected, when I looked at all the boards, I seen a lot of the same names, and then I would see them come off one board and repopulate another board. Not knowing where everybody's from, I assume that you got some people that represent one section of the county and maybe not the full county, and that's one of the reasons why it inspired me to write that. So I'll be reading up on it.
I'm just gonna make a comment. I'm negligent in the writings of Article 18. But did we pass a resolution that basically says the same thing Article 18 does?
Well,
Not exactly, but.
Well, I mean, what's the intent?
Article 18 is essentially deals with conflicts of interest, but they're financial conflicts of interest. For example, you couldn't vote on a resolution that would, provide money to whatever your personal business is. It deals with those kinds of conflicts. And out of that, we have generated a code of ethics for the county, which goes into much more detail in defining what a conflict of interest is and exemptions and things of that nature. I think the diversity issue is something, it's an important issue, as everyone has already explained, but it is slightly different than what actually is covered under Article.
I think we definitely have, I'm sorry.
I'd like to argue with you.
Okay.
Because it's not financial. There's conflicts within boards, so it ends up being financial. I agree with you there. Okay, but when you're on two boards and you're making a decision on this board that financially enables this other board to make more money, that's a conflict of interest, both within the boards plus financial conflict of interest.
No, you're correct. There are potential financial impacts.
And when it comes to diversity, I think Mr. Muldrow and myself, both, it's not about color, race, or religion. It's about people from all different aspects coming in to help the county with its.
And one thing too, I want to say this because like a lot of times you can't address everything you read online. But in this county, there's a lot of civil service tests. So you still got to pass the test. You still got criteria. So what you're doing is increasing the pool of people, so you don't get the same people. And demographics that you might not have. So it creates a good workplace. So, just as a whole, without any diversity, as far as religion, color, and those things that we think about, there seems to be the same people on the same boards. There seems to be the same people on the same board. So regardless of what diversity you think diversity is, that's not healthy for any organization. Anybody else? Heidi, did you ever hand up? All right, can I get a motion to close?
Move it, Mark.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, every month.
Great. Did you, what's what?
I just have a question.
Article 18.
Yes, it's the comptroller.